Welcome back, man. Another Gas Sports for Culture. It's good to have y'all back. Strap in. We got another good show for y'all tonight. Right now, we only got three. We might get four. But right now, we're going to give it to y'all three the hard way, no pause. Hey, top left, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, man? Scruff Line, Good Ass Sports. You know what time it is. We about to get into it. I got to talk about this Nate Robinson stuff, man. I got to defend, not even defend. We going to have to get into it, man. So it was ugly.
Okay, definitely. It was definitely ugly, you know what I'm saying? Nate went to sleep a little bit before me. Top right, introduce yourself.
Yeah, that's never a good way to go to sleep, man. At Bryce XXVII, aka Mr. Big Leaguer, aka my mama's favorite gas panelist. Look, it's gonna be a good episode tonight. I think there's a lot of stuff we got to get into, not just on that Nate Robinson side, but some things I'm excited to get to on the NFL side. So let's get it rolling, fellas.
Yes, sir. It's a lot of NFL talk today. And I ain't introduced myself. I'm T Boogie. Same thing with me. If you've been watching the show, wash your hands, wash your ass. You know what it is. Stay safe out there, man. And let's go, man. Let's jump right into the NFL, man. Biggest takeaways. Anybody got something they want to go? You know what I'm saying? Throw out there? Because I got a lot on my mind.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start us off, man. My top takeaway. I don't know. I feel like all my takeaways this week are top because they all serious this week. I don't know, man. But first takeaway is the Lions, the Detroit Lions. They shortly after Thanksgiving, they went ahead and fired their coach. They ended up firing Matt Patricia.
Right.
But if you just think about the whole situation unfolding how it did in Detroit, man, Matt Patricia never had that job. The man that was fired before Matt Patricia got fired for being 9-7. The man that was fired before Matt Patricia had the second highest winning percentage of any Lions coach. The man that got fired before Matt Patricia's winning percentage was so much better than Matt Patricia's that Matt Patricia would have had to win 22 straight games just to match that of Jim Caldwell, man. We talk a lot about privilege in sports and how certain coaches and certain people don't get the right shot because of who knows what the factor is, right? Then everybody tends to point to the race. Well, I think in this situation we can see why. Because Jim Caldwell was fired way too soon. He had the Lions rolling years. They were playoff contender every single year. And, he gets replaced by Matt Patricia, who's essentially driven him into the ground. Hey, man, I'm sure Matt Patricia's a good guy, but terrible coach. And he got a huge shot and he can never turn it around. I'm just wondering why we let go of Jim Caldwell so soon for my first takeaway.
Well, just from my point of view, I don't know, man. I always feel like in sports, you don't want to be 9-7, 8-8. You don't want to be floating around 500, man. You want to be really good in contention, but you want to be really bad so you can draft one of those guys that's going to put you into that really good tier. Teams like the Cowboys, teams like Washington, teams like Detroit, they're consistently middle of the road guys. You know what I'm saying? They're just good enough for their fans to be invested. But to your point, they probably should have fired him. But they probably also should have fired Matt Patricia way early. You know what I'm saying? We saw it wasn't getting done. He didn't make Matt Stafford. I feel like Matt Stafford might have regressed with Matt Patricia. So, you know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I'm not going to call a race card just yet, but I feel like they both should have been out. And Matt should have just been out. He got a little bit longer leash than he should have got.
I feel you on the Jim Caldwell point. I think Jim Caldwell is an underrated coach. I do agree. I think he would get a short leash. So it was a while ago, though. I really can't really speak too much to that. But I can speak to Matt Patricia being fired as the coach. I kind of spoke to it last week. I just feel like it speaks to Matt Patricia as a coaching candidate. He wasn't really that good of a coaching candidate in the first place. Otherwise, he would have ended up with a better job. Yeah, because he's over here. That's a terrible position to be in. I was talking about. I think the Lions are a franchise. They're kind of doomed for mediocrity. Is the best way to say it. Right. When you're in a market like that, it's really tough to build a good team in a mediocre market with a minimal amount with owners that they want results, but they're not really ready to put the big money up. They're not New York Yankee money. They're Detroit Lion money, it's quiet money, they're not going over the top to try to build championship teams like that. So It's very tough to succeed in an organization like that. I feel for Matt Patricia. I think he had his shot. I don't know if Matt Patricia is a head coach, really. So I think he had his shot, and I think it was a fair shot. But it's not easy to succeed in a place like Detroit. That's definitely look at Matt Stafford's entire career. Like I was saying last week, man, some franchises just it ain't ideal. That's why you see quarterbacks like Eli Manning and other quarterbacks like John Elway that have tried to get out of certain situations in certain franchises because they didn't want to be part of that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel like, unfortunately, Detroit is one of those franchises. You don't really want to be there. You don't want to coach there. You don't even really want to be the quarterback there unless you got some type of game-changing talent that's going to elevate it. I just don't see anybody really turning that Detroit Lions team into a powerhouse.
I mean, that's the point. Like, you would think you know, certain teams don't even get those guys. But they had a guy in Megatron, they still couldn't get it done. I mean, it just kind of it just goes to show you, like, some organizations are going to find a way to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as it sounds, that's just how it goes. I mean, there's a couple of
let's mess it up.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with anything y'all are talking about right now. I'm got to be honest. It's like somebody got to throw some reason to this, man. All this certain organizations can't do anything, you know. Bro, Jim Caldwell came in, right? And the Lions, you know what their record was his first season? 11-5. Next year, they're 7-9. That's a down year, right? Okay. The next year, they're 9-7. The next year, they're 9-7 again, and it looks a little bit better. Like this notion that like people can't succeed, and then he's fired after that. So it's like he ain't get another shot. So this notion that people can't succeed in Detroit is just false. Matt Stafford was 11-5 in Detroit. If you're 11-5, you're looking at being one of the best teams in the league at that time. That's where they were. That's where they were with Caldwell. So I mean, I just don't see how. I can't agree with what you guys are saying. With some teams just can't get it together. It takes one single player, to make your team the bum Patriots into Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Like, it doesn't take as much as y'all are kind of describing, in my opinion. Teams are one player away from being good, and sometimes they're one coach away from being good, and we're not giving that credit. Y'all remember what the Seahawks were before Pete Carroll? Because I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where we're getting this notion that, some place you just can't succeed. Because that same place, if you feel like you can't succeed, all of a sudden the Legion of Boom, and all of a sudden you forget that what they ever were. I don't know.
The difference between the Seahawks and the Lions is the Seahawks actually have some kind of a, like, I would say, like, a reputable organization. Like, they had a good fan base. They had the 12th man. They had some elements there. And then when Pete Carroll, it's kind of like when Andy Reid came over to the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a great history. They never really won a championship, but they had a structural organization. They had that family is well known as one of the more powerful families in the NFL and one of the more prestigious families in the NFL. They had some type of they're reputable. But the Detroit Lions, I can't say that about that team. Or like I said, I'm calling y'all out. Any of y'all fan bases, y'all want to at me? Y'all see my at? Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals. There's a couple of these franchises out here, man. Like, it's just tough to win in these areas, man. And it's like, you know.
Marvin Lewis had one of the best win percentages in the league with the Bengals, man. Bro. Like,
what's his ring percentage? What really matters?
What are the teams' ring percentages in general? There's about 4 teams in the NFL that got like 5+ rings, and everybody else is just trying to catch up, bro.
But why?
Because, man, okay, so you're telling me that 22 teams in the NFL you just can't win at, or 24. Like, the Cardinals don't got no ring as an organization, but y'all love the Cardinals though.
No, I wouldn't say 24. I'd say probably 8 franchises that are really, really, really doomed. And then 8 to 10. 8 to 10 of them that are just in really shitty markets, bro. I hate to say it like it is, bro. Really shitty markets.
The market has nothing to do with it in the NFL, bro. The
market's part of it because the money that
not in the NFL, not in the NFL, bro.
You're saying that having Tom Brady changed that organization. Yes, but it wasn't Tom Brady alone. He's had some studs on defense. Maybe not all the weapons on offense, but I mean, if you look, all right, let's take Seattle, right? It wasn't just Pete Carroll. Like, football is a sport where one guy can't change the franchise. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, Saquon would have changed the Giants. They had Russ, generational talent. Sherman, arguably a generational talent. Earl Thomas, elite. Cam Chancellor, elite. A system that no one could figure out at first. You know what I'm saying? It's a copycat league. Everyone runs their zone now. But like a lot came together. The coaching came together. The camaraderie. The 12th man. You know what I'm saying? They had a culture, and you don't see that in Detroit. You didn't even in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? You kind of saw that, but you didn't. Like it just didn't come together. And certain organizations, certain franchises, they don't have what it takes to bring that all together. They don't have that history, that tradition. So you got to create it, and they don't create it. You know what I'm saying? They just draft players, and grab a coach. No one takes that leap, right? 49ers took that leap and said, all right, let's get Kyle Shanahan. Rams took that leap and said, let's get a young coordinator in McVay. Like, that's what teams got to do. But what did we see happen with Washington? You get Ron Rivera. You should have went and grabbed a hot shot offensive coordinator like everyone else is doing. Some organizations just don't get it. They just don't get it. Cowboys is another organization. They had a lot of winning in the 90s and a lot of mediocrity since then. And it starts at the top. Look at their culture. Look at their owner /GM/coach. He does everything. And that's why you can't just have one player. You know what I'm saying?
You smell that? You smell that, B?
What's that?
You smell it? You smell it, B? I smell a little hateration on your breath. A little hateration. A little bit. The rest of the Washington jabs, the Cowboys jabs. I mean, a little incompetent. But since Rome asked, I got my 6. These are 6 teams. Bank it. 6 NFL franchises that ain't never gonna be shit. You ready for it? I got them right here.
Run them up.
The Detroit Lions never going to be shit. All right. Here we go. The Washington football team never going to be shit. The Cincinnati Bengals never going to be shit. The Cleveland Browns never going to be shit, and the Jacksonville Jaguars never going to be shit. All of them never going to be shit. The Washington one is a little questionable.
That list is just questionable, bro. The whole mind frame that's how things work is questionable, bro. That's not how things work, bro. Every few years there's a team that emerges, and every few years there's a good to great team that descends, bro. It's a never going cycle in team sports, bro.
Who emerged this year in the NFL? Who emerged?
How about the Buffalo Bills? Did they not emerge? Oh, are they not emerged? Have they not emerged?
I'll give you that.
Like,
I'll give you that.
Every few years there's a team that emerges, there's a team that descends, bro. The same way y'all just listed the Rams. The Rams had years where they was just 2-14, 3-13. Now you're telling me because they took Sean McVay, all of a sudden they took a leap. But if they go 5-11 for the next 2 years, you're gonna look back and be like, Sean McVay wasn't nothing. My point is, bro, these things are ebbs and flows with teams. They rise up, they fall out. It's a never-ending cycle in the NFL, man. I just listened to y'all list the Jaguars. They used to be one of the better teams in the NFL, bro, with quarterbacks like Garrard and Leftwich, and they were going 10-6, 11-5. This is how it happens.
Hold on. When in the history of my lifetime have we ever felt like Jacksonville had a Super Bowl team? Buffalo has a Super Bowl team.
Like, they had a great defense a couple years ago, but I wouldn't say. I'm thinking what I'm saying when I talk about teams having staying, franchises having staying. To me, that doesn't mean just having like a playoff team here or there and being respectable in the league for a year or two.
You brought
sustained success, franchises, championships.
Okay,
at least one championship. To me,
you bring up the 49ers, right? But the very year they made the Super Bowl, nobody had them anywhere. So after one great run, right? Now it's like we back on the 49ers. And that's just my point, man. Every one of these teams is just one run away for you thinking next year people going to look at the Chargers like Chargers got a shot this year because Justin Herbert played well for one season. That's how the perception goes and how just one season changes it all. Man.
It wasn't so long ago the 49ers were in the Super Bowl with Kaepernick and Jim Harbaugh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Exactly.
2-time losers.
And you know what happened?
But
just a few years later, they were looked at as one of the worst teams in the NFL. And everybody was talking about how dumb their coach was. They were putting their coach was on video saying something stupid, and it was going around the internet. That quickly, you look like what you just listed to nothing. And that's how it goes, bro. It's ebbs and flows, bro. And any team can go through it.
That's how fast they ramp it back up. You know what I'm saying? We saw the Ravens win in 2000, Ed Reed. They ramped it back up and got it going again. They're back. You know what I'm saying? Like the Steelers.
Okay, but
back.
The same way the Ravens are back, they never dropped. They never went to the
really
pitch
left.
like y'all did. Not once.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not the same thing. Y'all in the
and they were there consistently.
So right. So they're a franchise that has the same success, right?
Definitely.
Versus the franchise that just can't do it for whatever reason.
Definitely.
I'm trying to get
the Ravens are the anti-Detroit Lions.
What I'm trying to get you to see is, man, it only takes 2 years of doing it straight for everyone's mind to change about you as an entire franchise, bro. And everybody on this panel's mind would end up changing about a lot of these franchises in less than 2 years, bro.
Has anybody changed about Tennessee? Does anybody think Tennessee can win a Super Bowl?
Bryce does.
I'm sure somebody does.
Anybody that on this live.
I mean, but this same Tennessee Titans team has been in the Super Bowl. Like the Tennessee Titans have been in the Super Bowl. So what are we gonna say? They've been always a horrible franchise, a place you could never win. About the Tennessee Titans, that's what we're gonna say?
Yeah.
You gotta win now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They've been 1 yard short.
Before the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that's what you were saying about Philly then.
Correct. Yes.
So you would have put Philly on that list you just named before that one Super Bowl.
Honestly, I wouldn't have put Philly.
You're lying, bro. You're lying, bro.
No. It's a Philly market. It's a better market.
No,
it's a better market.
No,
Philly's a good market.
Why would I put Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb on that list? Like they had a good run.
So a good run is what? A couple years of not winning. First, y'all tell me it's all about ring percentage. Now it's a good run because David Garrard had a good run in Jacksonville, but y'all telling me nobody can win there.
That's debatable, man. Leftwich and Garrard in Jacksonville is so debatable. All
right. Did they make an AFC championship out there?
Did they? Did David Garrard win an AFC championship?
I said did they make it? I didn't say that they win one. They didn't go to the Super Bowl. Didn't they win one?
I think Garrard might have made one.
Didn't they make one?
Might have.
All right, so I guess that was just a horrible run then. All right, cool.
Luck, man. You know what I'm saying?
It was luck. All right. Nah, man. It's the ebbs and flows of teams, bro. We'll see it forever, man. We'll see a team come from the dregs and look like a shining star and then drop back down. I mean, you see it in every sport, man.
So
look at the Golden State Warriors.
So
when was time when you never mentioned the Golden State Warriors amongst the elite?
Hold on.
Now it's not even thought.
When will it? They won like 3 championships, bro.
I'm talking about football because basketball, one player can change the franchise. We saw that with Toronto Kawhi. I'm talking about football. So when will it be that for Washington?
I mean, I don't know, but I do know this: that they had a run where they won 3 straight, or what, 3 in 4 years.
All right.
Since
Snyder, because I said it takes everybody, top down, fans, everything. Since Snyder, where's the success?
Okay, but the same thing that you're saying right now, I can say the Cowboys had success with the same owner, and now they're not having it. So, your argument can easily be picked apart. Easily.
I mean, I think it's fair to say Jerry Jones isn't the mind that he might have once been, and he doesn't have the coaches. There's no Jimmy Brown.
I don't know his mind. I don't know Jerry Jones' mind. I didn't know him then. I don't know him now. I mean, I'm assuming he's the same dude. I'm assuming he's the same type of dude.
If you're telling me Jimmy Johnson and Parcells is in the same category as Sean, what was his name? Jason Garrett? Like, come on, man.
I didn't say they're in the same category, but I know one thing. The same dude picked them. The same dude picked them both.
Right, but it takes, I mean, I feel like Jerry's son is running most of it at this point, but like it takes everything. That's my only point, right? You can't turn a franchise around by just drafting one guy. That's my point.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. It takes a multitude of factors. But
there are organizations that find dysfunction. They seek it out.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Dysfunctional organizations. I mean, you don't got to be in a. You could be in a great market. That's not to say that teams aren't in great markets. Don't fuck it up. Plenty. Like, we talking about biggest takeaways of the weekend. My biggest takeaway of the weekend is the Eagles are the most dysfunctional organization in football. Potentially top five most dysfunctional organization in football, man.
It can't be.
Yo, and I got some to piggyback off of that. I just want to say that all this Carson Wentz slander it needs to stop because it ain't Carson Wentz's fault, man. Which is Carson Wentz is suffering from the symptoms of a poorly run organization. I've been seeing it all too much, man. Now that I understand how good organizations are run, I see and see so many poor decisions just really stacking up on the Eagles. Poor decisions in the draft, poor player development, and just old dudes just all over the roster. I don't know. Y'all know I don't like old dudes on football teams, man. It don't work.
I mean,
it's just porous.
I feel like Carson Wentz has to share a lot of this burden, right? A lot of this responsibility. Because, I mean, I just watched a play where there's a receiver in the slot, wide open, no corner in front of him, no, hand in the air looking. Wentz doesn't throw him the ball, doesn't even look at him. Like, you can't put that on the owner. Like, bad quarterback play, he missed throws. Like, I watched that game. He missed throws last night. Like, you can't put that on the organization. To me,
but
as a
he
guy,
has no time to throw.
I mean, still,
no time.
When you do have time, you got to make those throws. I mean, maybe you getting hit, you got the jitters, whatever, but you're still paid to make plays, and that's your job. Sorry, that's your job. But it shows me that there's a reason why they drafted a quarterback so early. Like, I thought it was crazy at first, but obviously what Carson Wentz is doing on Sundays is what he's been doing in practice or during the offseason. Like, someone somewhere said he might not be it, so let's draft a replacement. I think that's good ownership. Like, that's a smart move.
But don't you think the coach deserves some of the? I'm not just strictly blaming the ownership. I'm thinking it trickles down. But I'd say the coach deserves a big chunk of the blame because he's supposed to be he's a former offensive coordinator. He's supposed to be a quarterback specialist. You know, he had Frank Wright on his staff, and they went to the Super Bowl. Now, some would question whether Frank Wright was actually the secret sauce to that staff and the reason that they were so successful. And now he can't get right, and that's quarterback. That's his department. You know, doesn't Doug Peterson deserve some of the blame?
No, the coaching is definitely off. Because, you know, when your quarterback's struggling, you should protect him, run the ball more. You have a very capable back, and you have decent backups. Run the ball more. So coaching does take some of the blame, but at the same time, they paid you to throw the ball. So you can't just drop back and hand it off, drop back and hand it off, drop back and hand it off. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But
bro, they should have known.
Hold on. One thing I noticed, right? I feel like he's playing like a guy that knows there's a talented guy behind him. And I don't think that the quarterback behind him is talented. But he's playing like a guy that might, you know, he's hearing the noise. He's hearing the outside noise. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's really affecting him. Sometimes drafting that quarterback propels your quarterback to play better. I thought Alex Smith played way better when Mahomes came in. But it's having the opposite effect on Carson Wentz. And it just speaks to, you know, the individual player. And I don't think that helped him.
Yeah, man. I think they should have known a long time ago. You know when they should have known? That year they got better and won a Super Bowl when Carson Wentz went down. That's all they should have known right there. I mean, who are we finger pointing at? You gotta point the finger at every single layer of this, from top down, on ownership, coaching, quarterbacks. Like, I mean, come on. This guy was your starting quarterback. He went down and you won a Super Bowl. I ain't no coach, but I know one thing I would have done. I would look at it and be like, that guy that won us the Super Bowl, that's the one we need playing quarterback. You know what I mean? They should have flipped Carson Wentz when the stock was high, but they were unable to see that, man. Even back then, Carson Wentz never had over 65% completion percentage. That's one thing I look at to tell me how great a quarterback is. The accuracy. The accuracy never wavers. If you look at quarterbacks' careers, man. Sometimes the touchdowns go up, sometimes the interceptions go up. But one thing that usually stays consistent is that accuracy. And that completion percentage, it was never high for Carson Wentz. I never thought he was a great quarterback. I was saying before the season that I thought the stock was low on Carson Wentz. I was saying last year, ever since I saw Nick Foles win the quarterback, I knew what time it really was with Carson Wentz. The Eagles weren't able to see that. They invested a lot of money in him. You know, now they got to eat that. But I think the good thing for them is that I believe in the next season, they can cut him without really any big hit to their cap. I think there's a lot of unguaranteed dollars in that big number. So at least they can sever ties easily, you know, from an Eagles point of view. But I blame everybody involved, man. I knew Carson Wentz wasn't the guy after that Super Bowl. It wasn't that hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, so there's obviously been some mistakes there, but I don't know if we can say that's the most dysfunctional organization. Like, I think they still compete. That's one thing about the Eagles. I feel like week in and week out, they try. You know, they don't just go out there and get blown out. People not putting up 30, 40 on them, but you just gotta get that whole quarterback situation. That's where it starts in the NFL. Your quarterback, and as long as Wentz is playing this way, as long as they can't protect him, that's most teams. That's most teams.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
that's
protect
just the worst. Just the worst kind of mediocre for a fan, man. Like
I hate it. I never.
You're not really in it. You're not really gonna win. They're not really in the game. They're like, all right, like kind of in the game, and then you get this fluke Hail Mary at the end of the game to make it seem like we were in the game, but we weren't. It kind of hurts, but it's just troubling times, man. 2020, real shitty year for Philadelphia sports.
Hey, maybe basketball will get it back, but
maybe.
Let me give you my takeaway. I got two takeaways, honestly, and one of them, it doesn't really need a whole lot of conversation or debate, but I just feel like the Jets are going to go winless. I think that's a winless team, and it is what it is. So, Trevor Lawrence, you're on your way. And my other takeaway is I don't know if the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be really close. I think Cleveland and Pittsburgh play week 17, and I think Cleveland is going to have to battle with the Ravens, right, for that wild card berth. And I feel like Pittsburgh might be trying to play for an undefeated season, so that doesn't bode well for Cleveland either. So it's going to be interesting. But the Ravens, especially with all this COVID stuff, and I don't really like how the league is moving things around to help them play. They didn't move things around to help the 49ers. We played 75 guys this year, like we broke an NFL record. They didn't help the Broncos. Broncos just went out there with what appeared to me like a flag football guy. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the. Let me switch my takeaway. Now that I think about it, let me switch. That might have been one of the worst quarterback games since maybe like the 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like we seen two guys play quarterback and combine for less than 100 yards, 3 picks and a fumble. It shows how hard it is to play quarterback. Period. But especially in the NFL. And two, it shows how crazy it is that you wouldn't try to get a Kaepernick, period, in the league when you got guys like Taysom Hill. But Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. Jameis will get that spot. The league, I don't know why they're moving things around for the Ravens, but I don't think it will help them. So, I mean, what do y'all think about all of that, man?
I feel you with the Ravens, man. I think that what happened to the Broncos wasn't fair. Wasn't really fair. Not the fact that they weren't allowed to postpone that game, but I think with the Broncos it was less of a violation on the team's part. They did come out and admit that they were lax with the masks, but the Ravens had clear violations of the COVID protocols, and so a lot of these teams were getting the NFL was coming down on them. You're losing draft picks, you're losing big dollars. Upwards, $550,000 for not abiding by the protocols. But it seems like the Ravens might be one of the golden children of the NFL, man. I think they get preferential treatment, and I think that's obvious with this one. I mean, the game's been already postponed now 3 times. I think the Cowboys game they had early in the season was postponed twice. I've heard that if the game was on Tuesday, neither J.K. Dobbins or Mark Ingram would have been able to play. But since the game's on a Wednesday, both of them can be able to suit up. Sounds a little fishy to me. Sounds like the NFL is giving them a little bit more privilege than they gave other teams, and I would say including the Broncos. So I don't know. That's something to monitor. And it really throws off the Steelers. They're the biggest ones hurt. And my Washington football team also ends up being hurt because now, our game was still supposed to be next Sunday. Now let's push it next Monday. So we're going to go almost like 10, 11 days without playing, thinking about from Thanksgiving to then. So it has its effects, has ripple effects when the league kind of favors one team. And I think the Ravens have become one of those golden childs of the NFL and Roger Goodell based off their ownership and based off his position within the Biscotti's position within the NFL ranks.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I don't get it. I don't know what the Ravens did to get this, this good grace placed upon them. But moving the entire league to help this one franchise is kind of crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? But what you think about it, Scruff?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely got preferential treatment. You could tell they kept moving the game one day back each time. It's like, okay, no, we just keep one more day. Just try and make it work for them dudes. Like, I get it though. It's what happens when you have high-profile players. You have a guy like Lamar Jackson, this electrifying dude. He's Showtime. You know what I'm saying? So like people want to see that, and it's a premier matchup. That's another part of it. It's the Steelers and the Ravens. You know, it's like premier matchup. It isn't, you know, the Browns and the Bengals. You know what I'm saying? But to your point about the Ravens missing the playoffs, it's definitely a real possibility. Right now they're sitting outside the playoffs. I just think it would be like a massive organizational failure. I don't expect it to happen. I don't expect them to not get in the playoffs over a team like the Colts right now. I think is ahead of them, and then like the Raiders. I don't see the Raiders making it over the Ravens. So if the Ravens really do fall out and miss the playoffs altogether, I mean, it is tough sledding. I think they're going to have a tough time this week. And then after that, I mean, ultimately how they're going to bounce back after this COVID incident, that's really going to be huge. Because, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to take a loss this week. You know, it's just my expectation. They probably should just forfeit it already. They're still trying though. But
I mean, if they have to play like the league. If the league ended today, the Ravens are outside looking in. I think they're 8th right now. That 6th spot is 6 and 7 is like Cleveland, Oakland, well, Las Vegas at this point. But yeah, Ravens are outside looking in. So they need to play. They need wins. I don't know if it's gonna happen for them. I don't think it's gonna happen for them. But when we were just talking about it, I was looking at quarterback play. I've seen one of the quarterbacks play on this panel. So, you know what I'm saying? I got a question for Bryce. Do you think if you started an NFL game, you could throw for more than 100 yards? Because both of those quarterbacks combined only threw for 90. Do you think you could get 100 yards?
Man, if they would give me a couple screen passes and Obama take one to that's all 100 yards in NFL can happen so many different ways, man. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm on the Titans and I do a little forward, flip pass to Derrick Henry and he takes that jump to the crib. And honestly, that leads me into one of my takeaways, man. My last NFL takeaway, Derrick Henry signed a 4-year, $50 million extension during the offseason. And that man needs to hold out the end of this season. Because that man deserves 50 more. Everything the Titans are doing right now, everyone that has the Titans ranked so highly, man, Tannehill getting a ton of praise. Some of it is deservingly so. Let's be honest here. Derrick Henry is the engine that makes the Tennessee Titans run, man. Over the weekend, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half. Come on, bro. That man Derrick Henry is different, bro, and it's time for him to hold out. I'm gonna be upset if he doesn't get more bread this offseason. Because I know running backs for some reason get shitted on. The man's getting about $12 million a year. He deserves 16, 17, if you ask me.
I don't think you can pay the man. I mean, when I see a running back running like that, it makes me want to pay the lineman personally. Somebody hitting the hole, somebody hitting the hole. He's talented, but you can't. Cowboys pay Zeke, have no line. Zeke looks useless out there. It's like handing the ball to me. So I don't think I see your point that he is that team, but paying him more, that's a little crazy, man.
He does not. No. I fundamentally I don't agree with paying running backs too much money because just the way the market bears it, and I always just play in favor of the market. That's just how I move economically. But if we're talking about principle, then yeah, I totally agree. Derrick Henry deserves way more money. First of all, he's getting $50 million. I don't know what the figures were on Tannehill's deal, but Tannehill doesn't even deserve $50 million. He's making quadruple the money that Derrick Henry made when Derrick Henry's really the one that carried the team. All this dude did was not fuck it up. Let's just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I totally agree. I think Derrick Henry's grossly underpaid. And I still think Christian McCaffrey's the best running back in the NFL because he's a dual threat. But Derrick Henry is the most punishing, bruising running back in the NFL. And he has gotten better week after week. And it's like you said, Bryce, end of the season, them dudes just get tired of tackling that big dude. He's just too much, and I do think the Titans can make a run. Actually, I don't see them as a championship organization per se, but they're on the way, and they're sticking to that run, that smash mouth style play. If they can keep that going to a playoff run, and them boys just keep rumbling through them big 100-yard games with Derrick Henry, they could win. They could win it. They could win. I just don't see them winning it over like a Chiefs, But
Derrick Henry's the best running back in the NFL, man. Yeah. It's really. I said it last season. I started saying it last season, and in my opinion, there's really no competition. Because to me, to be the best at anything, it's about results. It's about results. Derrick Henry single-handedly, not almost single-handedly, is carrying the Titans franchise for 2 years running now. Really 3, honestly. And I got to get that man. I got to get that man his flowers, man. Derrick Henry is top RB in the league, and the next closest one to him, I believe, right now is Dalvin Cook. Then I'll throw Christian McCaffrey after that. But man, that running back pecking order seems to shuffle every few years. I think D. Henry got the top spot at the moment.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a toss up though. Depends on what you like, man.
That's a good point, Hazel. Le'Veon left them Steelers, and he never looked the same.
He looked terrible.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it. Like, when's the last time a high-profile running back won a Super Bowl? Like,
I mean, Marshawn Lynch. I would call him a pretty high-profile running back.
Marshawn Lynch might be the last one, and
that's only a few years ago. I think it's possible.
Before Marshawn Lynch is a high-profile back, but he was never the best back in the league at any given time.
Nah, people were definitely calling Marshawn Lynch. I was calling Marshawn Lynch the best back in the league. So I think he was the best back in the league.
I think talent-wise, he was the best back in the league. I don't know if he was ever like a number one, led the league in rushing type of dude. I mean, he was consistently the most talented. Like he was up there. Dude. He was up there, yeah, but I don't know if he was like like number one.
Yeah, man. I'm saying Marshall Faulk, definitely best back in the league. I mean, let's not start saying when was the last time game, because then I would say when was the last time a high profile receiver won a Super Bowl, and then we could just beat. Okay, so now with I guess Tyreek Hill is more high profile than Marshawn Lynch was. Like, nah,
Tyreek Hill had 200 yards in a quarter.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact. I'm not saying Tyreek Hill's not nice. I'm just saying, like, if we do when was the last time game, like, we could probably say that about just about every position. I could say when was the last time the top cornerback won the championship? It'd be like, I don't know. When was the last time the top old guard won a championship? I mean, old guards don't matter.
I think maybe Khalid or something. But honestly, I don't think you. I mean, Sherman. I guess Sherman was on that team with Lynch.
Honestly, though, Bryce, if you was to look at any position that indicates success in the NFL, I would say that offensive lineman indicates success. To me, it's easier to look at it backwards, though. To me, if you look at the top 5 in the top 5 teams, top 10 teams in the NFL draft will always have the worst offensive lines. And the top teams that make it always have good O-lines. Like, Chiefs had great. You talk about guard. The Patriots always had elite guards. The Chiefs got some elite guards. The Eagles had pretty good guards. Brandon Brooks is a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, good offensive lineman, man, really is the key.
Yeah, I think it's so nuanced, man. You can win in so many different ways. You can have success in so many different ways in the NFL. I think it's hard to point to a position group and say, when was the last time that this position won a championship? But I was gonna say the one anomaly to that would be the quarterback position. I would agree with that. If you play quarterback and you're great, you can win a championship, and it can kind of transcend all the other position groups.
I mean, I feel like a tight end might be a slept-on one, but I got to do the research on that. But I feel like tight end might be another position where you got a good tight end, like elite tight end. You got a really good advantage.
I don't know. Being the Eagles fan, and we've had one of the most elite tight ends the last couple of years, and we couldn't move the ball more than 7 or 8 yards at a time, like, kind of sucks.
Yeah, I think I agree with Hansel here, man. I think defensive line might be the next one where it's like, if you have a dominating defensive line, that's not even one position really. That's an entire group. But if you have a dominating defensive line, that puts you. I mean, you look at the New York Giants, man. If you ask me, both of their Super Bowls in the recent memory were due to having great offensive lines. So, defensive line. Excuse me, defensive line. You need the whole front. You need the whole front. That defensive line can change. I mean, you can't really. It's hard to list one of the linebackers from that New York Giants team unless you really know them. I mean, I know them, but most people not gonna know a linebacker from the New York Giants team. That defensive line can literally
Antonio Pierce.
I mean, that defensive. Hey, look at the Rams a few years ago. Look at this 49ers when they made the Super Bowl. I mean, defensive lines can change the entire landscape of a game. You know why? Because they're the one position that directly affects the quarterback.
Yeah, really hey, that's a good point. I see how you brought that back home. You know what I'm saying? So the game is the quarterback. Protect your quarterback.
Unless you're able to put, unless you're able to kind of put together something innovative. Every few years, someone comes with something innovative. You've seen the Ravens do it. You've seen Greg Roman do it a couple times now, right? You come up with a new system, something innovative. Eventually there'll be a system that's quarterback based that has a lot less to do with the quarterback, right? You see that in the college level all the time, right? Where they just plug any quarterback in and all of a sudden they're still rolling. But it takes very, very, very creative scheming to get that done.
I mean, I think you're going to see something, and I don't think it's been done yet, but I think you're going to see 2 quarterback systems, right? But like both quarterbacks are on the field at the same time, not like subbing in different packages. Both of these guys can play running back or quarterback, and the play calling is going to be so crazy. The handoffs, the snaps, you know what I'm saying? Who gets the ball, who throws the ball, who catches. I think that's where you're going. I think the football, you're starting to see more athletes. I see it at the youth level. You're not just a running back. You're not just a cornerback. Like, you're an athlete. And I think that's where the game is headed.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. And I couldn't agree more. I think we are getting to the time where a 2-quarterback system on the field is going to be a regular thing. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If you line up 2 guys, both their numbers in the 20s, you don't know who's getting the ball, and it's going to throw the defense off every time. You just have no clue who's going to be throwing it, who's going to be. And hey, you look at what this play the Redskins ran the other day, the Fumble-Rooski. If you start getting plays like that, creative plays with the ball off the line, snapping at different people who may not be expecting to get the ball, you could really change the landscape of some of these NFL games. I think that is coming. I really do think that's coming.
Yeah, nah, it's definitely, the game's changing. It's evolving. That's why I'm saying watch out for Jalen Hurts. I think he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, so I think he could potentially do that. But we're gonna see. Y'all catch that Nate Robinson? Y'all caught that Mike Tyson? What y'all think about that? Let's switch topics a little bit, but I guess we talk about the undercard first, because that was like probably the most hilarious, unfortunate thing that I've ever seen of a guy that I actually was a pretty big fan of. In a way, I always liked Nate Robinson. I like the multi-sport athletes. I was pulling for this guy. I'm thinking he's an athlete. He said he was going to put on for the NBA, fam. Boy, did that not happen. Oh my God. He did the exact opposite of put on. Now he's got NBA players out here trying to defend the NBA fraternity. we got Evan Turner, we got Lance Stevenson, we got players ready to throw their gloves in the ring so that they could defend the NBA fraternity. Nate Robinson got laid out, looking like Martin Payne up against the ropes, laid out, memed out, all across the whole globe, all the internet, everybody clowned him. Now, what are y'all thoughts about Nate Robinson and this public humiliation?
Hey, Rome hilarious.
Hey, man, I feel like first let me hold up. First, how I'm sounding, man. I think I was getting some feedback earlier. I'm good. I'm locked in.
Yeah, much better.
All right, perfect. All right, so I wanted to give a shout out to Thriller, whatever they are. They put on a great event, man. I mean, the music, the lights, the ring, everything. I mean, the boxing ring was a little bit smaller. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but you couldn't really run in there. You know what I'm saying? And Nate ran into some punches, but I feel like this is what boxing needs to just rip them off. Like, make the boxing event, your pay-per-views, a concert / fight party. Like, it's no reason. A lot of times we get undercards that nobody wants to watch. So you throw a musical act in there. I was locked in. I was watching boxers fight that I never heard of, and they were fighting. So I liked it. But to Nate, man, oh my gosh, man, I don't think this guy ever been in a fight in his life. I've always said it as a longtime basketball player. Basketball guys, like, they can't fight. Like, they can't fight. You know what I'm saying? I thought Nate's football side would help him out here. But Snoop definitely needs to commentate. That was crazy too. We need more of that color commentary from Snoop, letting the guys curse, letting them smoke. Like, it's 2020. Put that on TV. But yeah, I feel like Nate never fought in his life. Like, I feel like he never play fought, never slap boxed. I feel like he never got a beating from his parents. Like, like he just didn't know how to defend himself. And it was ugly to watch. I mean, you don't block with your face, and that's kind of what he was doing, just lunging. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you have a major girl, man, but that's kind of how she fight. Like, she swing and she just dive at you. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you're not gonna hit her with that Jake Paul, but that's what happens when you lead with your face. And I feel bad for Nate, man. He got knocked out in front of his friends, family, his girl, his mom. He can't never talk. He's already short. He can't talk crazy to anybody at this point. So I feel bad, man. I feel bad. It was tough to watch.
It was ugly. It was ugly. Matter of fact, but let's go ahead and give a moment of silence. Let's give a moment of silence for Nate Robinson's boxing career, man. 'Cause that thing is over, man. He don't want that smoking. He don't want that smoking the rematch either, man. I don't think Nate wants that again. That thing got real ugly. I think Nate hit the deck 3 times. After the second one, I thought it was a wrap. All I can do is hear Snoop playing over and over in my head. Oh my God. that was the best part about that fight, man. I just keep hearing, oh my God. Like, Snoop was 6'4", man. My man Snoop broke out in the hymns and the Negro spirituals, trying to pray my man up off the ground, but it wasn't happening, bro. Nate Robinson I'm blaming the training. Because, at some point, whoever was training Nate had to. I hope they told him, Nate, that ain't it, dog. Nate, that ain't it, dog. When he was on the bags, he was on, that ain't it, dog. Nobody ever told him that ain't it, dog. And that was clear. Because Nate Robinson went out there looking like he had no clue what he was doing. He looked like he might have been more equipped for a brawl, a wrestling match type brawl. Maybe he would have been fared better than UFC type of atmosphere where he could have grabbed on old Jake Paul. And the thing that hurt the most, man, is I was invested in this event, and I watched the interviews, man. I watched the weigh-in, man. This guy Jake Paul got on TV. He said, "Nate's kids, don't watch this, please. I don't want you guys to see your dad get hurt." And when he said that, because at first I thought Nate was gonna win. When he said that, I thought to myself, I said, "Yo, this dude, he seemed like real sincere with that. I really think he was talking to my man kids with that. You know what I'm saying?" So I think Jake Paul knew what was happening, but I think that's a perfect case of somebody thinking that they can do something because they're an athlete. And one thing for sure, man, because you're an athlete, that does not make you a boxer. Like, if you were to put half these NBA players on the basketball court, they would probably look crazy. And that's because they're not basketball players. And boxing is a sport still. It's not just, hey, throw an athlete in there and let's hope they can do well. You know what I mean? And as much as boxing is fighting, it's not fighting. Boxing is boxing. It's not necessarily fighting. If they were going in a no holds bar, no rules match, I'm sure Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul is a way closer contest. But in a boxing match, Jake Paul trained for boxing. You could see it from his stance. You could see it from his combinations. If you watch the pre-fight build-up, you could see it from his training. The dude has been in boxing. He's been knee-deep in boxing for some years now. Maybe 2 or 3 years. And that's different from a guy who's been knee deep in boxing for 8 or 9 weeks, trying to prove something, trying to prove an internet beef. And hate to see it because Nate Robinson ruined his legacy, man. I'm never going to think about the slam dunk championships whenever I see his face. I'm going to think about the time he got knocked out.
Man, yeah. Nah, I feel you, man. It does change how anyone remembers you. You know what I'm saying? Now when you hear Nate Robinson, night, baby. That's all you
ruined his legacy, man. He should be the American Gladiator or something. We would have been like, oh yeah, Nate's a hell of an athlete, man. But he decided to jump in. American Ninja. He should have done American Ninja, man.
No, I mean
he'd probably be good at something like that. Like some real gladiator shit, or you gotta like climb up on shit. You know what I'm saying? He would probably be a beast at that.
Well, his legacy would have been cemented. That's one of the best athletes ever. The man won a dunk contest. The man won American Ninja. But instead, my man wanted to be a real ninja. Got his ass mollywopped. It's sad to see, man. Sad to see.
I mean, I honestly don't understand how a guy comes into a fight not knowing how to fight, like not knowing any of the basics. You know what I'm saying? Once you get hit on your head a couple times, it's all instincts, baby. I mean, look, he started the fight crazy. Like Snoop said, he got on his basketball shoes. Like He started the fight crazy. Like anybody that fights knows you don't go straight forward and you don't go straight backwards. I mean, that's like fighting 101. You know what I'm saying? I never fought no professionally. I fought as a kid in karate. And I will say, like you said, it's a difference when you're doing something like structured and organized versus a street fight. But in both situations, defending yourself has to be the first priority. You know what I'm saying? Before you can attempt to knock a guy out, you need to be able to defend yourself. And I feel like he has no capacity to defend himself. I don't want to see Nate doing anything outside of basketball. Like at this point, I have no faith in him. His friends let him down. Like I feel like his friends.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him on nothing. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all ever seen like. I don't know if y'all ever
want to see you on nothing, Nate.
I don't know if y'all ever seen a street fight where one of the fighters was a boxer, but that should be ugly. I don't know if y'all ever seen a fight where it's like a regular dude versus a real boxer. That should be real ugly, bro. The boxer lands, it just looks different. You look at him and be like, oh yeah, that dude's a boxer. Because the combination he's throwing is just hitting a little different, man. And I think that Jake Paul was way more of a boxer than Nate Robinson was. Yeah, and I think it would have taken a lot of time for Nate Robinson to kind of train himself out of some instinctual things. Like every once in a while, you even see it with boxing where guy get knocked upside his head enough times, and it's just pure instinct. And I think Nate Robinson instinctually not walked into that knockout. It was ugly, bro. I think that was all instinct doing that for him. He wasn't even trying to do that.
Yeah, I don't know who his trainer is, but yeah, I think his trainer's career is over at all. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like I don't know, man. It was so bad that that was honestly the worst fight of the. It almost messed up what was a great show. You know what I'm saying? Other than the fact that Nate talked so wild and he got knocked out, like it almost messed up the event. You know what I'm saying? Because you wanted to see a fight. You got knocked out by a YouTuber. I don't care that he's been boxing for a few years. I mean, he didn't look like a good boxer to me. I feel like any other boxer probably would have beat him. Could have fought him to a draw at least. Anybody that, even if you had 2 amateur fights, as long as you were able to defend yourself. But man, I don't know what Nate did out there. That wasn't boxing. That wasn't fighting. I don't know what it was.
Well, you know what, man? I think that brings us to the next point of this conversation, man. If that wasn't boxing and that wasn't fighting, what did you call with Mike Tyson, Roy Jones did, man? Were y'all intrigued? Were y'all entertained? Were you not entertained by Mike Tyson going up against Roy Jones? Scruff, what did you think about the 2 old heads strapping it up one good time, man?
Man, I've heard some differing perspectives about this from people. It really depends on who you ask. Me personally, though, I enjoyed it. I thought it was solid. I don't think it was a draw, but I'm not sure what fight they were watching. But I did see some good things. I saw Mike getting in there. You know what I'm saying? He had some good force on his punches. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was in there. But man, Roy, I could see that he was feeling it after a couple of them hits. He was kind of like jabbing and then like moving back and stepping back on him. Like he was trying to stay away from that heat from Mike. And then, he was looking like a straight chicken nugget at the end of that joint. Getting out, he was on the side, just beat up like.
Oh, yeah.
But now I've been seeing that thing. That's about to be the new meme of the week. Really getting rotated. He was like, oh man. Then they say, yo, you ready for another one? And he said, I got to talk to my family about that one. Like, I got to talk to my family. He said, yo, I forget what town he said he was from, but he said if his town is with him, he said he out there. But I don't know. The town might be telling you something different after seeing these memes about you all week, brother. Because I'm telling you, probably best to leave it alone. Mike was ready to go back in for another fight, though. Mike will be back up there. I don't think Roy's going to be back. But if Mike can find someone else to go up against him again, I will watch, especially if they bring Snoop back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. I might have been the only one that thought that the draw was proper, man, because I think Mike Tyson was landing the harder shots on the inside. But Mike Tyson never really connected. He never got nothing on the button against Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? He never found that right shot. He never really, I don't think, hurt him. Outside, he did get him with some nice body shots when they were in close. When they were clinching up, Mike Tyson was definitely the aggressor. But that little pop jab, Roy wasn't even looking, just throwing that thing blindly, just turning his head and popping that jab out. That thing caught Mike in the face a couple times, man. I seen the slow-mo. He was low-key catching him with that thing.
Pop jab.
Man, I feel like there's probably a few heavyweights that are active pros that Tyson could beat. But I also, and it's a small number, but I also felt like, man, Roy looked so washed, man. You call that boxing? He ran and grabbed the entire fight. I feel like you just took a check. Like, why show up if you're not even going to box? Now, I know Roy's a counterpuncher. And you know what I'm saying? He's evasive, but he ran. Like, he ran and hugged. He didn't want no parts. Now, I know Mike was warming them ribs up. He had them things set on 250, baby. You know, he had them ribs nice and warm. I feel like he might have broke a rib because Roy was still gassed. 15 minutes after the fight, he could still barely speak. So, you know, he might have fractured a rib or two, but Roy didn't even fight, man. I'm kind of disappointed. It definitely wasn't a draw. And it's hard to land a punch with somebody that won't fight you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to run the entire time. Like, Tyson was reduced to having to land body shots, but he had the killer instinct. And
my man Floyd danced to multiple world championships. No. You don't got to be in there in the line of fire, man. Roy knew what was good for him.
When you're dancing and you win on points, that's boxing, right? But when you're dancing and you're getting outthrown, outlanded, like you ran.
I think Roy's mindset was not to get into a gunfight with a bazooka. I think that was a smart mindset. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at Roy. I see what he did. Roy what?
Almost 50 years old. He came to this fight with the intention of losing.
No, I don't think that. But I think once you feel somebody hit you, your intentions change. I think intentions can change in the fight. I think Roy might have came in there hoping that he could do his thing. But I think in fights, intentions change once you feel that power.
I agree. I always tell people, man, if you get hit for real, it changes your whole perspective on life. Not just the fight. It changes your whole. You start thinking you start thinking about your family. You start thinking about how did I get here in life. When you get hit for real, like flush, everything changed. I remember me and Hansel had that talk one time. When you get hit for real, it's like a flashbang, man. Like a Call of Duty.
Nah, real life, bro. That thing will have you thinking about like, damn, like you said, where am I? What am I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm doing me moment right there. You know what I'm saying? And that definitely happened for Roy because when he got back on there, he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this again, but I want to. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. Wait, hold up. I'm doing me. Pensacola, Florida, we in the house, man. If the town tell me I got to go back, I'm going back. So I respect the mindset, man. I did respect the mindset. I think Roy is straight warrior for going in there with Mike Tyson. I think the same with Mike Tyson going in there with Roy, man. These dudes are old heads, man. They're not in their prime. Clearly, they're not in their prime physically. I mean, that was very easy to see, but if you just watch the two dudes stand next to each other, I mean, they look like a shell of themselves. So, I mean, I respect them both for even having the courage at that age to get in there and do that. And apparently, a lot of those proceeds are going to good causes, man. Mike's saying he's being a missionary by doing this. So, a lot of his money is going straight to these charities and stuff. So, I respect what they did. I wasn't expecting some classic sort of fight. I think if we did see a classic sort of fight, we would end up with an Apollo Creed Drago moment. And that's the last thing you want, man, is these old school heavyweights, bro, just beating each other at this old age. But I did think we did see some unique boxing talent on display from both sides, man. From Mike still showing that he could throw those sick uppercuts to the body, and then from Roy showing that he can still hit and evade punches from a guy that's trying to knock his block off, literally, man. And he was still able to hit and evade, stick and move. And they were in close a ton of times, bro. There was a lot of close combat. And Mike Tyson, for all those good body shots, he was never able to find Roy's chin. He was never able to find anything big up top. In fact, the biggest punch up top, upstairs, came from Roy Jones, and Mike Tyson alluded to that in the post-fight interview. So we were able to see skills on display, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was a little disappointed, but I also didn't want to see this fight from day one. If y'all remember months ago when they announced this, I do think it's a good platform. I would love to see all these rappers, especially these young rappers that got all these gun bars. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see these rappers fight other, other rappers, other YouTubers, other people, period. You know what I'm saying? Athletes. Use that platform for that. Plus up and coming fighters too. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that might be 10-0, 12-0, maybe the next Roy Jones or something like that. But overall, I'm impressed. That was the best pay-per-view. I don't pay for pay-per-views, but that was the best pay-per-view that I've watched in a long time. You know what I'm saying? I was thoroughly impressed with the overall package. I think everybody tweeted it together, live tweeted it. You know what I'm saying? That was a good moment. So shout out to them.
Yeah, it was dope. Definitely don't want to see the young rappers going head to head in a fight, because
that would be hilarious though.
If they go head to head in a fight, and it's big time humiliation on TV, because somebody gonna get humiliated. You seen what happens when people step outside of their comfort zone. So somebody get laid out on TV. Somebody that got a persona of being a thug. Maybe he pull around after that joint and just pop, pop, pop. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, not all that. Well, send somebody from your entourage, somebody from your camp. But I would like to see more amateur boxing, but like guys that have a name.
I feel that, because I, for one, would have loved to see Jeezy and Gucci Mane square off after that versus battle last week. That would have been lit if they had the versus battle in the club, then took it to the ring right after. Like, hey, now we're doing the real versus.
That money would definitely be on Gucci. But I'm certain dudes.
Shout out to Rome.
Yeah, that would be lit. That would be something else.
That would be hilarious, man. That would be hilarious.
You know who's one rapper that could actually get down maybe in the ring? He's a little out of shape now, but Busta Rhymes looked like he could get down in the ring. Like
what? Hey, go ahead, bro. Who we putting Busta against? Hey, that might be that.
Throw them dreads up real quick. Pop, 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 pop. You know what I'm saying?
Remember that? There was a fighting game where they turned the rappers into fighting characters.
That was
Vendetta? Celebrity Deathmatch.
Def Jam Vendetta, yeah, man. I remember Def Jam Vendetta.
They had Joe Budden in their fight.
Joe was hilarious, bro. That was a classic game, bro. Def Jam Vendetta, bro. Bring it back, yo.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a classic. They do that. I mean, that's the type of vibes we going for right here. You know what I'm saying? We could do something like that. Even if it was like a cartoon version of it. I mean, like a Game of Zones. You know what I'm saying? Type situation where they go ahead virtually. I would even still laugh. It'd be laughable. But I'm saying real life. You put them rappers up there, somebody getting their feelings hurt. You think a little baby get trashed on TV? You don't think he going to cap somebody? It's over.
I don't think Lil Baby get trashed. I don't think he would either.
I don't think he would either.
You would have to put somebody out there in his weight class.
You think would you bet on Nate Robinson against the Baby?
Against the Baby or Lil Baby? I don't know. Either. I don't think I'd bet against Nate Robinson against nobody, bro. I think I'm taking everybody over Nate at this point, bro. Nate's stock is very, very low, bro.
Yeah, very man. Low. That's what I was thinking, man. If I saw Nate, I might check him. You know what I'm saying? Like, who you talking to, Nate? Oh, my bad, Nate.
Hey, man, check yourself a little.
Hey, man, but let me throw y'all a curveball real quick, because what I'm saying, we ain't talked about this, we ain't done this in a while, but this is one of my favorite segments. But what are y'all watching? And I'm gonna go ahead and what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and start what are y'all watching off with something I've been watching. I've been watching two shows, honestly. One just ended, one's ongoing. But first I'm gonna talk about the one that just ended. The Undoing, HBO. It's Nicole Kidman, Hugh Grant, I think. But basically it's about a guy that had an affair, and you know what I'm saying, his mistress comes up dead, and they're trying to figure out who did it. They don't know if it's he did it, the wife did it, you know what I'm saying, any other characters did it, her husband might have did it. Like, it's a good show. It's only 6 episodes, so it's a quick, easy watch, but watch it because it's a true whodunit, and you really won't know until the last. I mean, you might, but it's a good show. Watch that. And the other show I'm watching, people that know me know I'm a huge Star Trek guy. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people not going to watch Star Trek. It is what it is, but I love it. They got Star Trek Discovery. The lead character is a black woman, so I'm all in. And they're on season 3. The show's first 2 seasons started as a prequel. I kind of wasn't really feeling that, but now they done jumped to the future, and now it's a sequel, and I love it. Everything about this new Star Trek, this new Federation. It's on CBS. I would say watch it, even if you're not a Star Trek fan. Like, this would be the perfect series to get into it with. But that's what I'm watching right now. Star Trek Discovery, and I just finished The Undoing on HBO. Scruff, man, I know you always watching something, man. What's been on your Fire Stick?
Honestly, Yeah, a little bit. Honestly, I just watched this movie the other day. I just had to look it up because it was a pretty good movie, man. It was a little curveball. I'll throw a movie out here. John called Tower Heist with Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy. Super funny, actually. It was like like Eddie, Ben Stiller type funny, but like it was funny.
Isn't that like a little Ocean's type movie?
Yeah, he like works in like a hotel. Ben Stiller like works at a hotel, and he's like a real kiss ass, and like he gets fired, and he basically turns like anti-company man, and then he Eddie Murphy's like a crook, so he's like trying to help him. He hires him to be on his little team and shit. It's pretty funny, but yeah, I watched that recently. Pretty solid. I'm about to start watching. I've been watching The Mandalorian, Disney Plus. I bangs with The Mandalorian. You feel me? I bangs with little Baby Yoda.
I just started that.
Feel me? Baby Yoda, the biggest superstar of 2020. Like for real. Bigger than.
Didn't they just reveal his actual name?
I didn't see the new episode, so don't tell me.
Okay,
but
my man tried to ruin it for you though. My man tried to ruin it.
Look, I'm on episode 2.
I don't know his name either, but
they revealed his name, and you know what I'm saying. I ain't clicked none of the links, but I saw. Never mind.
Little homie be entertaining though. He be eating like little frogs and shit. Like it'd be entertaining. Power about to come back next week, and All American is another show I watched. Is about to come back as well. But really, what I've been watching is college basketball. Man, college basketball finally back. Treading lightly. So far, getting through this COVID shit. We got a couple games in. Rutgers men's basketball 3-0 early out the gate. AP ranked number 24. Couple dogs on that team, man. Shout out young boy from Jersey, Big Cliff out here, starting center for the squad, bruh. This man, watch out for this. Watch out for Rutgers, man. We got some serious talent. Ron Harper Jr. is on the squad too. He put up some numbers the last couple games. Definitely been watching them. On the girls' side too, man. Shout out women's basketball team Rutgers. Shout out everybody out there killing it right now. The hoop seasons is officially upon us. I know y'all love the NFL, but I love the hoop season, bro. The hoop season is here. College basketball right here. The NBA tips off in 2 weeks. This is what I love, man. So y'all gonna get to let me talk about basketball again, and I'll be a happy man because I'm an Eagles fan. This has been a fucking horrible season for us.
I feel you. I'm glad college basketball is back. I watched Duke lose to Michigan State. I love Izzo. I hate Duke, so it was a good night for me. My son's a Duke fan. Take that L, and I couldn't agree with you more. We back in the gym. My son stopped playing football. We back to basketball. It's basketball season. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. It's upcoming shows. But what you been watching, Bryce?
Man, y'all know I'm a sucker for the superhero shows. So I've been watching Doom Patrol. Comes on HBO. Different style of superhero show. It's not the usual DC Comics type of vibe. It's about four quote unquote superheroes that get together in the most unlikely circumstances, man. And none of them have really mastered their powers, and none of them have really ideal powers, but they all come together for a common goal. So it's a pretty dope one. And then another thing I've been watching, I haven't had a ton of time, man, to just watch anything but sports, but I have also been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. I know a lot of people love The Office. Curb Your Enthusiasm is like my Office. You know what I mean? It's one of those shows I can throw on any time. Larry David he's a fool, man. The dude is hilarious, man. You don't know Larry David. He's the guy that wrote Seinfeld with Jerry Seinfeld. So he's got some resume there. And yeah, y'all, if you've never seen it, man, check it out. If you love funny shows, it's impossible to get through this without like having a aha moment or a laugh out loud moment. It's that comedy that's a little more subtle than just like something that's super in your face. I think with like The Office. But if you're down for like that subtle comedy, like the things that are funny the second time around or the third time around they happen, that type of comedy is definitely for you. I implore anybody to check that show out, man. That's my thing right there. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay. I know Larry David. I watched Seinfeld. I haven't watched Curb, but I've heard nothing but good things. And I hear if you like Seinfeld, you'll love Curb. So that's a good one. I left one out. One thing I did watch because it wasn't a show, so I forgot about it. But I don't know if y'all saw this, the Fresh Prince reunion.
Yes,
I didn't see it.
Oh man, hey, watch it.
Yeah, I saw that.
They
That was
run the cast
that's on
back
the spot.
together. They got both Vivs. You know what I'm saying? They had a little special moment for Uncle Phil. Real good reunion. They were back on the set. They recreated it. Great reunion, man. Hopefully Martin could get one. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see a couple of our shows get something like that. Family Matters, but Will and them, they did it right, and you got to watch it. If you
did they make like an episode out of it where they had like everybody was playing their role again?
Nah, everybody.
Nah, they were talking about it. They were telling stories about how the show first came about,
right?
Which was like that was the best story they actually shared. They actually said that the Fresh Prince was he was on tour with Jazzy Jeff, right? And he's on tour with Jazzy Jeff, and Quincy Jones invites him to like a party or some shit like that. And he starts talking. He said he was drinking, and he started talking to him, and he was like, yeah. He started talking about the show that he was thinking about doing. He was like, yo, matter of fact, you know, we do an audition right here. And he was like, what? An audition? I never acted before in my life. And he was like, look, man, all the network executives are there right now. Everybody we need to tell about this show is right here. So he was like, all right, give me 15 minutes. Will got his shit together real quick. He did an audition in front of like everybody. It was Quincy's birthday party. He said the next day they ran the script, started the show. They had the pilot ready within like, I think it was like a couple weeks or something like that. Started the auditions right there.
About six weeks after that. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but they showed everybody's audition tape. Will didn't have an official audition. That was his audition. You know what I'm saying? That was the main takeaway from that segment. And I mean, it was really good, man. They even brought little Nicky back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my man, little Nicky. So, hilarious.
If you were a Fresh Prince fan, you know what I'm saying? You grew up in the 80s and the 90s. This is a must watch. You know what I'm saying? Out of everything we talked about, I think that's the one, man. That's the one.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, that shit was funny, bro. They was talking about Jazz. You know, I think one of the funniest moments of that shit, the way they did on my man out the crib, man.
That's how they called through Nick Robinson out the crib. Right?
Just be getting tossed out the crib,
like
man.
Jeff, yo.
Yeah, he was definitely looking like that.
It was cool to see everybody being themselves and not in character, but talk about their character in different, like they went through like their favorite episodes, their favorite moments and shows, and you just gotta watch it. I don't even want to spoil it. I really want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it because it was that good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, man. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's real nostalgic. You know, definitely a real tear jerker. You know how the Fresh Prince will try to get you get you with a funny. Get you with a little tear and then hit you with a laugh after, like they try to get you. It's a tear jerker. Keep your Kleenex on deck, bro.
Yeah, I mean the one takeaway I did take away was that they were more than a show. You know what I'm saying? They were a family, and they talked about relevant issues. You know what I'm saying? Drugs, guns, all that sort of stuff that real people can relate to. It wasn't just comedy. So,
hey man, that reminds me of somebody. Man, that reminds me of us, man. A family that talks about real relevant issues, man. Drugs, guns. Well, we don't get into too much drugs and guns, but we always got some relevant issues, man. I think today was another hell of a show, fellas. I don't think it gets no better than Gas Sports for the culture, man. Best sports show. Yeah, I said it. I'm not saying the best new sports show no more. I'm saying that the best sports show on the internet right now. Another great episode, man. If you guys don't know where y'all can find us, if you just happen we popped up on your Twitter feed tonight, man. Make sure you download the Gas Network app, available on the Apple Store, the App Store, and the Google Play Store. Download that, give it 5 stars, man. Tap in with us. We got a ton of big things coming. Big things coming. Big time interviews, big time specials. So stay tapped in with the Gas Network, man. Hey, Scrub, did I miss anything?
Yeah, get you a gas hat. All you gotta do is go to goodassports.com/shop. And get you a gas hat, man. These joints are super fire. I got a whole big old box of them just came in. About to be delivering them things like Santa. Hope you got your milk and cookies ready for your boy.
Hey, matter of fact, yo, I'm feeling in a festive giving mood, man. The next 3 people to DM us at Good Ass Sports, man. We're sending you a free gas hat. We're gonna pay for the proceeds ourselves, and we're gonna send it right to our guy, Coach Rock, with the DC Mambas ice hockey program. It's a youth ice hockey program that gives back to the community. an all black owned all minority owned ice hockey program that, you know, gets black kids and young inner city kids involved in this sport that is ice hockey, a sport that we're definitely not in at all. And it takes a lot of money to play that sport as well. And then making sure these kids get skates, get pads, and get on the ice. So that's what those proceeds are going to go to, man. The next 3 people that jump in and DM us on the Good Ass Sports account, we're sending you a gas hat for that very purpose. So tap in with us and look forward to that interview. We got a one-on-one interview coming up with Coach Rock. In case you guys want to know more about the DC Mambas ice hockey program, it's a good one.
Sir.
Well, hey, man, y'all know how we log off every time. Sports for the culture.
Sports for the culture.
Sports for the culture.